I guess abuse would be anything where you're treating someone in a way that could compromise their health mentally, physically, emotionally, anything like that.
I would define abuse as someone taking advantage of another person or using force in any way to get what they want.
I think abuse is about control. I think that it's about controlling someone in this confines that the abuser thinks they should adhere to.
I would say anything towards someone that is aggression, for as you hitting someone, saying rude things.
Anything that harms the person, so that could be in a relationship, friendship, it could be even your parents. So anything that does harm or anything that can hurt you physically, emotionally, and can drastically affect your well-being and who you are as a person.
I would define abuse as something that brings you down and never brings you up, emotionally or physically, I guess.
I'm gonna hurt you in any way I can because I can't keep you in this box that I want you in.
But you do have some people that don't necessarily realize what the real definition of abuse is because there's so many different types. So I do feel like it's sometimes that it can go unknown.
Physically, emotionally, I would think spiritually too. You can really break down someone's core by just being emotionally abusive, but by saying you're not even worthy, I feel like that's taking someone's piece of them out of the picture and making them feel like nothing.
Girlfriend sees a guy talking to a female friend go crazy, or the opposite way, the guy sees the female talking to another guy. It goes both ways.
There's other ways, like people control money. They control the money in the relationship, so that person can't feel like they can leave, so they feel trapped. And it's just, there's a lot more than physical, and I think a lot of people have this stigma that if he's not beating you or if she's not hurting you physically, then you're not hurt, you're fine. And I think that happens a lot with men. A lot of men can be emotionally abused, and it's just you should grow up. You shouldn't let a woman make you feel that way, and it's not fair.
Mental abuse is really a bad one because you can have people that manipulate you, mess with your head.
Yeah, control I think is a really, really big part of abuse, trying to control people and manipulate them.
The girlfriend's you need to be texting me the whole time that you're at your friend's house, and when you leave, you need to call me until you get home. That's not okay. That's scary that you think you should have someone reporting back to you all the time. You're in a relationship, and a relationship should be about the trust, but it should also be about letting that person be themselves, but with you.
I think people stay in abusive relationships because they're afraid or they don't know how to get out of them.
I think people stay in abusive relationships because it's comfortable.
Well, sometimes when you are in an unhealthy relationship and you really love that person, you don't want to necessarily just accept that it's unhealthy. You don't want to accept what that person is necessarily doing.
But then everything that's bad about them, they're that's just them, and they make up excuses.
I think that people stay in abusive relationships probably because that's all they know, or maybe that's all they've been around their whole lives, and they're comfortable with that, and they're scared maybe what will happen.
Oh, when I'm with somebody, this is how they treat me, this is maybe how I treat them. So when those people break up, they go to the next one and they're I want this person to talk to me all day long, and if they don't, I'm gonna get mad. And it's a cycle.
They're confused, they don't know, hey, I want to leave, am I afraid to leave, or is it time to leave, or I love this person so much I can't leave.
They get in this habit of, this is how that person shows me love,
And maybe they're afraid that they'll lose the person, even though they may be the person's hurting them. They still don't want to lose it because they're blinded by either love or they're blinded by the person. And I think that really can take control of someone's mindset.
If you don't have access to the outside world or to resources, how can you feel comfortable with just leaving?
I think just at some point you're more scared to leave than to stay. And once you decide that you're more scared to stay than you are to leave, that's when you make the choice.
Number one thing that I will always tell someone that is in an abusive relationship or someone that has been sexually assaulted is to not be scared. Like, I mean, it could be hard to say, like, don't be scared, because of course you will be, but I just feel like that you should always go to that person that you trust, someone that you know that is always next to you and on your side, someone that you feel confident in.
I would tell them to seek help, talk to a counselor, a friend, or anyone that they feel comfortable with.
I would tell them just to reach out, get help. There's a lot of people out there that really care, and there's a lot of people who understand what you're going through, and this isn't your fault and you're not alone in this. And I know that it really feels like that right now, but just reach out and it'll get better.
I think the most important thing first is to talk to someone. It's hard for people to talk about it, and especially if you find someone that will listen, they won't necessarily just tell you to leave instantly. You know, they want to make sure that you're safe and that you have an outlet.
You know that no one wants to be in a relationship where they're being hurt or victimized. They want to be in a good relationship where they actually can talk to each other, because communication is key, and actually love each other and not have someone hurting them in any type of way.
I would tell them to talk about it, first of all, like not to keep it in, to seek help or to make sure they have a way to get out, and not to blame themselves.
It's scary to tell people, and it's scary thinking about it, thinking like, this is happening to me, but finding a person that you trust and telling them is the most important thing you can do. And if that person turns out to not believe you or decide that you're not worth it, go find someone else. Don't give up.
I would define love as an unconditional feeling that is purely to bring you up.
Anything that just makes you feel giddy inside, I don't know if that's a word, just feeling very happy with the person.
Love is putting someone else before yourself, but also thinking about like what you want and how you can kind of combine everything and make it great.
Love is unconditional. Love never fades.
Love is trust. Love is a bond between two people, three people, your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your friend.
I guess love means just caring about another person to where you want what's best for them, and you know, like they're up there where your needs are.
I dream that love feels like the best feeling ever, and you're like on top of a cloud, the happiest you've ever been, feeling super awesome.
Love to me is like being on a stage or performing or being on a stage with a bunch of people looking at you. It's like an adrenaline rush.
Being there for someone and that person being there for you.
Love is compassion.
People in marriages get in fights over who took out the trash, but at the end of the day, that person still knows that their husband loves them because they support them, even if they don't take out the trash.
I don't know, makes y'all melty on the inside. I don't know.
I have never been in love, unless you count like a dog or a celebrity.
Everyone sees and receives love differently, in a sense.
I think love should feel like that you're just happy with the person.
It just makes you really happy, seeing them happy and everything that they go through. It's like a really selfless feeling.
Oh my gosh, it feels like you could do anything and that person would literally just be there for you.
I think that's the most important thing with a relationship, is to just be open with the person, because that's ultimately your best friend.
You know, just be there for that person, no matter what time, no matter what storm, because everybody has a storm they go through.
You're with somebody that you love and that person loves you, you feel like you can do anything because they're backing you up.
I think there's just different ways of expressing love. I think it just depends on who you are, but I think any way of expressing that you care for someone and love someone is important, and it can just be any aspect of how you do it.